Okay, the format of this meeting is a 10-minute speaker, our secretary's announcements, a coffee and snack break, and our main speaker. Our first speaker for tonight is Jesse. Hey, Jesse.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jessie, and I am a grateful alcoholic. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Michelle, for asking me to speak. And welcome to all the newcomers. Welcome to everybody who just wants to keep coming back, and welcome to the old timers as well. I asked Michelle today, I was like, do I have to be on a podium? And she's like, yes. And I was like, I'm going to die. But okay, so a little bit of my story. So I was born from a 19-year-old mom who was a drug addict with meth, and so my life started very unmanageable. My grandma ended up adopting me, and she was extremely dysfunctional. I learned how not to have relationships. I learned how to be codependent. I learned that love was conditional. I learned that significant others were more important. I had a dysfunction of what sexual relationships were like. I was very over-sexualized as a child, and so there was this, just something was always wrong. I always felt nasty. I always felt nasty within myself. And I didn't know how to explain that. I just wanted to crawl out of my skin and I can't remember ever feeling happy as a child. I was never happy. I was always sad. I was always crying. I was always anxious. It wasn't until about high school or so that I started drinking, and we got alcohol from my mom, me and my best friend. And we started exploring that route because, of course, I'm going to go to my mom, who's not going to judge me ever. You know, she's like, okay, here you go. I feel guilty for your life, you know, so here's some drugs and alcohol. And so that's pretty much what happened. So my alcoholism started really young, and I did not realize I was an alcoholic until I became a meth addict, which is kind of odd. Yeah, so it started about 16 or 17, and I wanted to try everything once, just for the experience. I didn't think I had any unmanageability. I didn't think I was sick inside. I didn't think I was trying to numb or fill up that void. But God, was I wrong. So alcohol turned into ecstasy. Ecstasy started happening quite often. Family found out, and that was an issue. But even though they had found out and there was a whole bunch of consequences, repercussions on that, I decided to try meth for the first time with ecstasy with my best friend, and I ended up cutting my entire body with a scalpel knife, and I thought it was funny. I ended up pretty much overdosing. I think it was overdosing. My face was swollen. My best friend broke every single one of her fingers that night. I was laying in a bathtub full of my vomit. Like, who does that? But did I stop? No. Why would I stop? And so that was hard. At that point, I had to pause. I ended up getting pregnant myself. And so I had to pause. I got pregnant at 19. I was in a relationship only because somebody liked me. It wasn't because I liked this person. It wasn't because I respected them. It wasn't because they were honest. They were controlling. It was sick. It wasn't okay. But they liked me, and they gave me attention. And I didn't feel like I had that in my life. So I allowed it. I allowed all of it. And this person ended up cheating on me, and I was heartbroken because the idea of a family to me, what I never had, was now falling apart. And even when I look back, even at during that time, I always used to say is I don't know how to take care of myself, but I know how to take care of other people. There was that codependency within me, right? And that wasn't true. Like, that wasn't even close to true. So moving forward, another partner, because there's my void. It's not just drugs and alcohol. It's people, places, and things as well that I have issues with. And when that partner came along, it was Coke and it was alcohol, and the Coke, oh my God, that just changed my world, right? And the drinking became so much worse. It got in front of my jobs. Like, I had to call out all the time because I was up all night, and then I would be shaky, and then I'd pass out and I'd have to go to the hospital, you know? And every time it would be like, is my daughter okay? Is she with a family friend? You know, is she with my family right now? So it was every time I didn't have my daughter and she was with her dad, it would be me going out partying. And then I would come home the next day and I'd be exhausted. I wouldn't be able to tend to her. I'd be sleeping sleeping during the day because I didn't get any sleep. You know, it was dysfunction. And that relationship was really, really, really toxic. That person ended up raping me. And at that point, again, my alcoholism took a different level. Drugs took a different level because I didn't understand, right? And I didn't even understand what that word meant for a while. It was bad. Like, it was really bad. And I thought therapy would fix me. Didn't think it was the drugs. I didn't think it was the alcohol. Thought therapy would work, and that didn't. And so as time grew on, another relationship came around. This person was sober, out of all things. He was an ex-meth addict, and he would let me do drugs in front of him and do drugs with him. And I thought that was okay, you know? And that went bad, of course. Then house hopping, right, during COVID. Thank you. COVID hit. And COVID hit. I was house hopping at that point with my daughter, not having anywhere to live. And that was probably the scariest time of my life, you know, like having to look in my daughter's eyes and be like, I can't take care of you. I don't know how to take care of you. I don't know how to take care of myself. And I can't explain to you in real terms why we don't have a home, why we don't have a consistent roof over our head. You know, it's like, how do you explain that to a child? But that's where it was. And then my mom came along at some point, and I was just telling my sponsor and my little sponsee family about this. My mom came along at some point. She was like, hey, do you want to see one of my friends? I'm like, sure. Gave me some Coke, asked me to do some PCP, and I was like, sure, that's fine. Went over to a friend's house, and I practically fell in love, so I thought, the first night that I met this person, which was borderline true. But drugs started getting involved, and so when I look back at my alcoholism right before COVID hit, I would be sitting outside, rocking back and forth, continuously crying my eyes out at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd be falling into bathtubs, bruises all over my back, not being able to go to work. I'd blame my mental health reasons. I blamed everything but the actual alcohol itself. But yeah, so COVID hit, and here comes meth all over again. And that was a different monster. That was a completely different monster. And that's when I really realized that I'm an addict and I'm an alcoholic. You know, I couldn't stop, no matter what the consequences were. I ended up starting to sleep in my car. I was moving consistently. I was a terrible partner. I had cheated. I had done so many things that I've never done in my entire life that I had so much pride that I would never do, but I did those things. And I hurt a lot of people around me. I hurt my daughter, you know, like it sucks. Even at this point, it's hard to look back into those very detailed memories and experience that shame, you know, and to be honest with you, this program's been really helping that out. So I was an addict for about 1.5 years at that point with meth. My life was insane. I was smoking meth with my mom. CPS got involved. I still didn't stop. I was served papers, and it took about a couple weeks after my child was taken away from me to get into treatment. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to go to treatment. I had my supplies until I got to the door of treatment. I didn't want to go, and today I really, to my core, believe that it wasn't me, it was my higher power that got me there, because I wouldn't have stopped. And the main reason why is because the cycle had already occurred. I used, bad shit happened, and then all of a sudden I'm using again because that bad shit happened, and it would just go over and over, but it would get deeper and deeper and deeper. And at that point I had lost everything. So why would I stop, right? Because all I wanted to do was numb. I couldn't stand myself. I couldn't stand the world. But I'm so grateful I went to treatment. You know, a lot of people have hard stories in rehab. I didn't. I loved every single moment of it. I was like, I'm with 15 girls. We're all just having a great time. But I got to laugh again. Like my girlfriend always used to say, is that laughter just disappears, you know, when you're using. It's like nothing, it's just not there. And that's when I fully experienced it at that time. So I went to sober living after that, but I felt good. I was definitely in the pink cloud, but it was the first time in my life where I had a taste of happiness. I didn't know what it was still. I don't have a concept of that even to this day, but it was a taste of relief. And I wanted that. I went to sober living, and not long after, I think I was 4 months sober, I ended up relapsing. But I'm really effing grateful that I went to rehab. I'm really effing grateful that I went to AA meetings because I was only a week out. And I had lost my sober living. I was in a hotel room already. I was sleeping in my car within a week. And then I had to call the family. And I promised my grandpa, who's my favorite person in the entire world, that I would never lie to him again about using. So I called him up and I told him. And he was like, okay, take care of your shit. And so I did. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful that even in that moment, I was already building that trust back, by being honest. And after that week, I've been gung-ho. Like, I don't want to go back. I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of being dysfunctional. I'm tired of not having healthy relationships. I'm tired of not having healthy friends or people that are going to have my back. I'm tired of failing. I know I'm a hurt person who was just trying to be better. I knew that. And I know that, I don't have that shame cycle of screw me, I'm a piece of shit. It's not that. I knew that I've always been hurt my entire life and I've never had a way to solve it. And so drugs became that solving. Today, I have so much. I have a job today. I work 45-hour shifts. I opened my mail today. Who does that? Honestly, I remember I was in sober living and I was opening mail and I was like, oh my God, I feel so good about myself. Look at me, I'm adulting. But it was true. It's those small little increments of things that we totally didn't do. And it was I was feeling proud of myself. I was doing it, right? That small little thing. And that kind of concept throughout my sobriety has really held me strong because it's not the big, huge achievement of perfectionism that I'm after. It's the small baby steps because that's the only thing that's getting me here. And it's those everyday moments of what do I have to do today? And some days I don't get to the list. I really don't. Some days I tell Michelle all the time, I'm like, well, I didn't go to a meeting today. Okay. But I did do the gratitude list, There's always one or the other. But I'm still grateful that I'm doing those things. I'm still willing. I'm still honest. I'm still open-minded. Today, I have my daughter pretty much full time. I'm the prime parent today. I get to take care of her while the rest of her other parts of life are having hardships, right? I get to pick her up and be like, I'm here for you. I got you. You can trust me. I have a relationship with my mom today. She's had spurts of being sober, which has been awesome, but I've been able to be a rock for my mom and say, hey, if you're going to call me to save you, I'm taking you to an AA meeting. That's the only way I'm saving you. That's it. And that's already made a difference, and I know that. Today, I have 2 sponsees, which is a totally different journey. That's a new thing for me, but to be able to give back and go through that book over and over and over and over like I've already done, it seems like, it's just a new way of doing it. There are still struggles sometimes. I still have thoughts. I still have dreams. Those are uncomfortable. I don't like them. I'm still a very impulsive person, which scares me even more because the impulsiveness, especially if I'm feeling emotional, even if it was a week ago, can get me into trouble. But I have that toolbox, and obviously that toolbox gets talked about probably in every single meeting, but I can't tell you enough how that toolbox starting in your early recovery is so important to practice. Because once you get that practice in, even if you go out, you come back, and you're like, okay, I know what to do, even the bare minimum, So all I really have to say is just keep coming back, keep trying. If I can do it, you can do it. If most people in this room can do it, you sure as hell can do it, especially after you hear some of these stories. But I'm really grateful today, and I wouldn't change even the hardest moment in my life today for what it was back then. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Grant me this serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you. Now our main speaker will share her experience, strength, and hope with us. Please join me in welcoming Michelle.
I'm Michelle, and I am an alcoholic. Hi, Michelle. I'll get some water here. I know so many of you guys. Get a few logistics out of the way. I want to thank Chris for asking me tonight. When he did, I was like, oh my God. I haven't spoken in front of a large group of people in a long time. My sobriety date is March 5th, 2002. And so I have a little over 21 years. I'm grateful that I have a little over 21 years. You know, you guys tell me if you can see my nose hairs, right? Up in the front row. Yeah. Okay. Someone else said that the speaker before me said laughter is the best medicine, and I have to say laughter is the best medicine. I want to thank Jessie for speaking tonight. And she's got a year and a half, a little over a year and a half. And I'm grateful that today I get to sponsor beautiful women, beautiful young women, beautiful. My other sponsee, Audrey's over here. My best friend, Angie's over here. Chris is here. Neely's here. I mean, Kelly. Like, I today get to surround myself with really amazing women. And that wasn't the case, right? 21 and a half years ago, right? So many people I know here, I was locked in my house, drinking and using, and I'm going to try to, out of respect for Alcoholics Anonymous, keep this about the drinking tonight. But my story does include a lot of drugs. What I believe the drugs did for me is it helped speed up this disease tenfold. So what would have taken 20 years took like a year and a half to finish me off. So it really did me in. And in the end, all it was vodka, right? Because my dealer wasn't giving me anything anymore. He was telling on me. He was calling my boyfriend at the time, telling me that I was always calling him. You know? Like, what drug dealer does that? Like, thanks for the anonymity. You know, I hope one day I see him in here because I think he probably needed this as much as I did. But it was really a blessing. But at that time, I'm still with the same man after all these years. 26 years Jeremy and I have been together, and he put up with me those years when I was really out there. I don't know how that happened either. I just know that that wasn't me, that wasn't my decision, that was all a power greater than myself. I'm so grateful today that he let me go when I got to be my worst and said he couldn't figure out what to do with me. Because every day that I saw that man, I told him, I just want to die. I was so beaten and disgusted and sad. That's what I would tell him. And what could a normie say to you? He didn't understand what I was going through. He didn't understand that alcohol and drugs had taken me to a level of darkness that I didn't know would take me to. He was like, I don't know what to do with her. And in the end, he wished that I would just die. Because he would come over and find me drunk on the floor, and there would be everything spilt all over the place. And he'd be like, I don't know what to do with her. So when we think that we're just locked away in our house by ourselves and that we're not hurting anyone, we hurt everyone. Everyone that knows us and loves us and cares about, at least for me, I lied. I lied to those people about what I was doing. I always had the flu because my nose was always stuffy from, substances that are crystallized. I always had NyQuil with me because that was helping. Back in those days, NyQuil really had, stuff in it, right? I don't think it does anymore. And I was always ill. And as Jessie mentioned before, I was sad. My mom was dying, and I was sad because I couldn't help her. My mother died so that I could live again. It took me another 1.5 years after my mother passed away for me to sink to a level of incomprehensible demoralization. And if you've read that in the book, that is just the epitome of what we are when we get to that place where we're maybe willing to do something a little different. I was disgusted by myself. I couldn't recognize myself. I disgusted him. I disgusted my sister. I was drinking vodka out of a coffee cup. You know, normies don't do that. My ism started in other forms when I was very young. And one of my besties taught me this, right? She said to me one day, she said, you know, we've all been doled out a certain amount of drugs and alcohol. And when we use it up, it's all gone. And some of us realize it and we get sober and some of us don't. And we chase that high into oblivion. And she was right. Like my alcoholism was done 20 years ago. Been sober 21 years. So it was 25 years ago. I just didn't know it. I didn't even know I was an alcoholic. I had never even heard of Alcoholics Anonymous before I got here. I'm a bookkeeper by career, and I used to do the books for Cocaine Anonymous World Service Organization. Before I was doing the drug, right? And I would hear him say this prayer, like the serenity prayer, and I'd be like, I asked my girlfriend, I'm like, what are you guys doing? And she's like, well, we're all sober. I'm like, what? Like, because I couldn't imagine that people had to do that. I didn't know my grandpa was an alcoholic. I didn't know any of this stuff with my grandma, that she had my mother and her 2 sisters taken away. So all of this information was kind of oblivious to me. And when I got here, I was so grateful that I found my people. And I love it because you guys are my people, whether you like it or not. I have been searching for the tribe my whole life. And you guys are it, whether you like it or not. And you know, some people come up and they say, I love everyone in the room. And I'm like, I don't know everyone in the room. And I have a love for you if you are here tonight, because I know what a struggle it can be if you are new. But I don't know you, and for me, love is a difficult thing to say, because intimacy as a child is a difficult thing. And if you are new, and I saw a lot of new guys here tonight, you're thinking to yourself, what do I have? Like, what does this older white woman have to do with my sobriety? And I'm thinking the same thing, man, because I don't know. If you're beat up and nobody wants to be around you, if you're drinking till you black out, if you're taking drugs and you can't do it anymore, if the court ordered you here tonight, welcome. Maybe that's why you're here. And I don't know if anything I am going to say tonight will resonate with you. I'm hoping that maybe it's going to affect somebody. If anything, they told me that me being up here tonight will help keep me sober today. The most beautiful thing that I learned when I was new was one thing, one day at a time. Because I kept asking, what am I going to do if I have to go to a wedding? How do you go to a wedding sober? What am I going to do if I have to do, all these things? I didn't know how to live life sober. And if you heard my pitch a couple weeks ago, I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to try to have some new material, but I didn't think I was going to be speaking a couple weeks apart. But I am very grateful to be up here tonight. I'm really grateful to see so many people who came before me. All you guys that have had way more time than me, I admire and respect you. And all the people that are newer than me. Because new people teach me just as much as people who have time. I was in the 9:30 meeting on Wednesday morning, and I heard a girl talk about my will or God's will. And I've been living in my will for the last couple weeks. And my soul felt like weird. And I was just telling Amanda this tonight, I felt kind of melancholy. Something was up. It's because I haven't been turning my will and my life over to the care of my higher power. One of the most beautiful things about Alcoholics Anonymous, other than like religion, so to speak, is that we get to choose a God of our own understanding. So my higher power may not be your higher power. And that's the beautiful thing. And my bestie told me another thing. I was a year sober too. And this really flew me like, Angie, I don't know if you remember this. One of our friends had gone out and thought they knew how to do this. And Angie said to me, I have been given a gift from my higher power that's worth more than any gift in the universe. Why would I give my sobriety back? And I was like, boosh. It was like light bulbs went off in my head. And it's the same thing that happened Wednesday morning, maybe not as big, but it was something I needed to hear from a newer person than me. So I believe that when we go to meetings, when we interact with each other, we learn from each other, right? We speak to each other in words that normal people don't understand. Like we laugh about the stuff that we used to do. You know that time I went to prison? That time I went to jail? That time that I couldn't find my car? The time that the bottles were falling out of my trunk? You know, those are things that like we can understand, and the normal people are like, oh my God. We used to go to the Friday night meeting over at the Alano Club, and then we'd go out to Rocky Cola. And we'd sit there and we'd talk about those things, right? And the waitress would walk by us and go, oh my God, who are these people? And we had to kind of fess up. Because this is why this works. I believe this works because I understand you and you understand me. We're way different in how we got here, what we're doing now, who our higher power is, what step we're on, if we're not, do we have a sponsor, do we not have a sponsor? Because it's all choices we get to make, right? These are suggestions. The only requirement for Alcoholics Anonymous is the desire to stop drinking. God, did I have to be reminded of that? Not that I stopped drinking or they stopped drinking, because I like to judge people who go out. Why can't they stay? Right? Well, maybe they haven't been given the gift of desperation that I've been given. So when I got here, I was really beat up. I had been to jail for 3.5 weeks. I had faced a prison term. I had stolen from everybody large sums of money. I had to pay all that back. I had to clean myself of all of it. And for some of you who know me, I work in finances. I don't get to do those behaviors anymore because that will take me out quick. If I chose to steal from my family, my friends, the store, right? You know, anything, it's going to come back to me because I won't be able to look at myself in the mirror. This is why we do the things that are suggested on this, right? We admitted we were powerless over drugs and alcohol, and my life was unmanageable. Angie met me one night, it was Halloween. And she was sober. She's got 8 years more than me, or 7 years more than me. And I was dressed as a disgusting Minnie Mouse. This Minnie Mouse was fairly good-sized because I was pretty bloated from drinking. So she barely fit into this Minnie Mouse outfit. Like, I don't even like to look at the pictures back from then. And we were driving down to West Hollywood in this big van, and I was trying to get her to drink. Like, come on, just have a beer. Come on, why won't you? And she kept telling me no. And Jeremy kept saying, stop it, Minnie Mouse. Leave her alone. She doesn't drink. And she was just drinking her little Diet Coke with her little cigarettes. Well, Minnie Mouse got upset that night because it wasn't going the way that I wanted it to. I ran off somewhere in West Hollywood. They couldn't find me for hours. Who knows what I did or where I went? They couldn't find me. I think it was 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And that was the first time she met me. And yet, I'm a month sober. I have no friends. Jeremy doesn't want to hang out with me anymore. My family hates my guts. And this woman calls me and she asked me to go to an NA meeting with her. And I started crying after I hung up the phone. Back then we had phones. Not like they do now where people text each other. Like actually you got to dial the rotary thing and you call people. I was so excited to have a friend to talk to go to a meeting with. And I will be forever grateful for her. And I tell you what she taught me. She taught me to pick up the heavy 200-pound phone and call another alcoholic every day. And if you're not doing that, it's one of the things over the last couple of years I have learned that we need to do to stay in communication with each other. Not this texting shit that I love too. It's the actual physical call, and her and I still do that on a daily basis. She calls me after work when she's driving home. I call her, and we just word vomit on each other. And that helps me stay sober. And my sponsees call me. And this one calls me every day for a year. Like I don't think she's missed like 3 days. I'm serious. When she came up and asked me to sponsor her, I was like, no, I don't want to sponsor anybody else. Do I have to? And my sponsor said yes. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to throw a wrench in this. And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to sponsor you, you got to call me every day. Not text me. You got to call me every day. And she does. And then I started calling my sponsor. So I have a sponsor who has a sponsor. And I've had my sponsor for 20 years. And if any of you know her, she's an amazing woman. Her name is Christy R. And she's this little tiny woman. And she had what I wanted. She was she just looked like she floated across the room. You know, she's totally different physically than me. Like, she just had this thing about her. I wanted that floating. She also had a great relationship with her husband. And I thought, God, I have such a shitty relationship with Jeremy. This is never going to work. And I really wanted it to work. And over the years, she has taught me, right? And we're now, again, in the 4th step. She's my Al-Anon sponsor, too. You don't usually do that, but she is. And I'm working my 4th step in Al-Anon. And maybe that's why part of this melancholy, this depression is coming, because it's painful. It's painful to look at yourself. Who is going to tell me that every emotion that I had was directly related to something that I had done or said, right? My deal when I got here was I wanted to blame somebody for all of it. Every single thing that happened to me as a child. I did not grow up in a household that was a vision for you. At all. I came from a family of 7 with a single mom because my dad was killed by a drunk driver when I was 5. And I don't say that to have you feel sorry for me, because I did the same thing. I was on my way to pick up my son, and I crashed into a wall drunk. And I could have killed somebody. And what that man did to my dad, he just was unlucky. No, he was an alcoholic. I am an alcoholic, and I am just grateful that I didn't hurt anyone that night, except this wall, which was all beaten to shit, right? And that was one step closer for me to get here. I still didn't understand I had to go to meetings. I still thought I got away with it. I actually got out of the hospital that night Jeremy took me home. My son was young then. I sucked down 4 Vicodin, a shot of vodka, and I went to sleep, thinking that I got away with it until I got that nasty letter in the mail saying that the blood that they pulled from me was 0.215 or something. So I was really drunk. And I'm so grateful that I had to go to court, plead guilty, go to DUI school, and start going to meetings. And did I still get it? No. I still ran amok for the next 6 months. I got here in February after a friend found me one morning really wasted. And she didn't know the Alano Club, but she knew they brought drunks there, right? And she did. And I found my tribe. But 3 weeks into it, I thought I knew everything, right? There goes my ego is not my amigo. I went over to visit my sister, and she had a newborn. I got really depressed because I had gone to the hospital to watch that baby be born, and I was really drunk. And I couldn't tell her. So I told her I had to go get something at the grocery store, and I went and got a couple little bottles, and I sucked them down. And I drove home that night 2 hours, pretty wasted, and I went on a 5-day binge. And at that point, Jeremy was done. He tried to break into my house just to get the dog. He didn't want to have anything to do with me, he just wanted to make sure my dog was okay. And I crawled my sorry ass back to Alcoholics Anonymous. And if any of you guys remember, there was a girl working behind the coffee bar, and her name was Tammy. And I tried to run out of that meeting in the morning, and she said, no, you need to sit down, stay with us for a while. And I did. They talked some sense into me until I sobered up. And she isn't here with us anymore because she went out. And she couldn't make it. And she went out, and she died of an overdose. My life is way too good. I do not want to lose that. So I choose to stay with you people and do what you do. And I try every day to be as honest and forthright as I can. And to be a woman of my word. And to answer the phone when my sponsees call. One of them busted me the other day, right? I was making an espresso, and they heard the foam, like the foam in the milk, like frothing. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, nothing. Because you're supposed to pay attention. And I wasn't, right? I was making my coffee. But that's not as important as they are. It wasn't you, by the way. It's okay. From March, right? From March getting here till now, my life has gotten considerably better. I don't have to worry about the finances, right? Because I work. All I'm thinking about now is retiring. I don't have a relationship with my 36-year-old son. That's a tough one. And I go to Al-Anon to try to help me with that. But it was my 60th birthday a couple weeks ago. And he sent me flowers. After 17 years of not getting anything from him. I know where he is. He lives with my sister. I don't know if he's using or not. It's none of my business. I haven't heard his voice in 3 years. I get a text message now and then, and maybe that's just all that's going to happen. Maybe he's just not ready. I don't know. It's not up to me. I just try to accept it. Would I like to have a relationship with him? Of course. Am I grateful that he sent me flowers? Oh my God. Did I make a huge deal out of it? No. Does he have a problem with me being his mom? Probably. Does he have a problem with himself being uncomfortable? Probably. You know, that's what I believe is my biggest problem, is I am an uncomfortable human. Just out of the gate. From the get-go, from my first memories, I did not belong. I didn't belong to my family. I just don't belong. I will walk in here tonight like I did, and feel uncomfortable until chapter 5 is read. And then I get to take a breath. There's something about the readings in the book that help me feel more comfortable. I don't know why. I don't even question it. So sometimes maybe I'm not liking that meeting that much that I go to in the morning. I'm kind of hating on it because everybody talks about everybody and nobody's paying attention and everybody's on their phones. And it's just like, God. So I've taken a little break from the morning meeting. But sometimes all I need to hear is chapter 5 and Carissa to be there. Because, we talk shit about everybody, right? And wasn't I just complaining about that? So, my character defects beat myself in the face all the time. So, my sponsors taught me kind of the following. We have a daily reprieve based upon our spiritual condition. And if you don't know what that means, I have a one day, if I believe that I'm right aligned with my higher power and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, today's going to be okay. So today's going to be okay because I did what I was supposed to this morning. I taught a yoga class. Then I got to do some fun stuff. I got to hang out with the girls for dinner. I got to come see you guys tonight. Tonight I'll get to put my head on the pillow sober. So am I aligned with my higher power today? I hope so. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do the same thing. For many, many years, I used to lie on my birthday and say that I got down on my knees and prayed. I don't know why I lied. I don't know why I didn't want to get down on my knees. I don't know why I didn't want to humble myself. I just didn't. I thought I was different, better. I don't know. I just said, I pray. I just don't have to get down on my knees and do it. And I listened to a podcast by somebody very famous talking about getting down on their knees. And I thought to myself, if he can get down on his knees and pray to his higher power, so can I. And ever since that day, life has gotten just a little bit better. Easier, right? We all go through these ups and downs. I have heard everything happening to people in these rooms. Children dying, like all kinds of stuff. Parents dying, people surviving cancer, people not surviving cancer, people losing jobs, getting jobs, everything. And yet people can stay sober no matter what happens. So if you have a good excuse while you think you want to go out and drink, I can't stop you. I can pray that you'll come back, but I can't stop you. I'm hoping that everyone here tonight is desperate enough or has a good enough life that they want to stay. So many of you guys I have known for a long time, right? We've grown up together, or at least most of the time, except for you and me, Ed. We're good, right? I didn't ever think that I wanted to get old in this program. And now I'm getting old. And I'm like, all these facials and stuff aren't working anymore. But it just is what it is. It's part of the ego is not my amigo. My sponsor asked me that. She goes, why are you worried about getting old? And I said, because, it's an ego thing. The whole, society tells you have to be young and all of this stuff. Well, that's not true. Because, I know, I still can go out and do so many of the amazing things that I love to do, and I'm not going to stop. I'm learning this new thing today, right? It's called e-foiling. It's this small surfboard that you have a remote control, and you put it on the water, and it lifts up and off the water, and you fly it around. And I'm like, I ate shit a lot, but somehow I'm figuring it out. And it's not pretty. Today I drank a lot of water. But I don't want to stop doing those things. So what am I going to do, right? I can't forget where I came from. I can't forget my tribe. I can't forget my higher power, and most importantly, I can't forget this amazing gift that he's given to me. And why would I want to give it back? And I have watched people go in and out of this program for years, and some not make it back. And some come back and they are just beat up. And some come back after 20 years and then go back out. And I don't know what the formula is. I don't know if the formula is 5 meetings a week and talking to your sponsor and doing this. You know, it's all of it. Whatever you need to do to keep yourself sober today, that's got to be the answer. So everybody's journey is different. And if you're here tonight and you don't want to be, and you're here on a court card, and then you go back out and do what you do, you're probably going to end up here again in 20 years anyway. So just stay. I hear that all the time. Oh, I got here when I was like 25 and I'm 45 now, so this is my last chance. Right? Just stay. Right? Maybe we do have something to offer. I know if you talk to the people in this program that have some time, they're going to tell you that life goes up and down. But that life gets considerably better the longer they stay sober. And the roundup is coming, right? The roundup is coming in 2 weeks. So if you're new, I highly suggest you make your way to the roundup. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to meet a lot of people, and the weather should be beautiful, unless, of course, this hurricane melts us all away. I mean, come on, people. Like, is the world going to, like, just fall away from Hillary, like, on Sunday or Monday? You know how many people are asking me if, like, I've got a flashlight? I'm like, I got a flashlight on my phone. What's wrong with you? How much do you need to eat for 2 days? You can go steal toilet. Who stole toilet paper during the whole COVID crisis? Come on, I know. Okay, yes. Right? So, you know, humans have a tendency to kind of freak out. Right? So, you know, the media and all of us are, I believe, in my own right. Maybe the power's going to go out and we're all going to starve in 2 days. I don't know. But if we don't, right, I think we're all going to be okay. Maybe we're going to get some heavy rain. But I thought we had a lot of heavy rain over the winter. So now we know that, right? I don't really know too much what else I want to talk about, but I just want to do a quick, right, with the steps. I did my steps my first year. I went to a big book study and I worked through all of them, and I'm doing them again in Al-Anon. But the 12th step was a really powerful step, and I know you guys have heard this before. I had sponsees when I was new to this program for quite a few years, and I lost a sponsee. She died of an overdose on me. I think I was maybe 4 or 5 years sober. And I couldn't see my way to sponsor after that. I just couldn't do it. The pain was too great in losing her. And I didn't realize for all those years that I was missing these beautiful women that I get to know. And I used to give the sponsorship announcement on Friday nights at the meeting. And yet I wasn't sponsoring anyone because I was scared. Until one day, this beautiful young girl walked up to me, Megan. She lives in Henderson now, and she said, "Will you sponsor me?" And I was like, oh, God, that was 5 years ago. And we still chat. And then I met this beautiful woman, Audrey. And I've watched her grow. And then I met this beautiful woman, Jessie, and I watched her grow and blossom. And be an amazing 10-minute speaker tonight. And then I got to meet this beautiful woman, Carissa. And I honestly don't know why she wanted to be my friend, but she wanted to be my friend. And I'm so grateful. And Neely, right? Yeah. I didn't like you at first. Because I was being protective of my sponsees. And these are the gifts, that I get to know. We all went to dinner, right, tonight, and we had some amazing food, and we just got to chat. And there was literally 3 or 4 conversations going at the table, over here and this way and that way, because when you get a bunch of girls together, that's what happens. But now I realize I wouldn't miss out on this 12th step for anything. My only goal in life right now, and I've known this for 21 and a half years, is to stay sober and help another alcoholic achieve sobriety. That's it. I'm never going to win the lottery. I think it's worth $250 billion tonight, or million. I'm never going to be rich and famous. Never going to be a ballet dancer. But life is really good. I would have missed it all. Because I know I wouldn't be here. I would be 6 feet under. For sure. And I would have missed it all. I've seen Ange have her babies. And now one is 19 and 6'8". And he actually talks to me now. It's pretty cool. But I would have missed it all. And I may have a relationship with my son one day. I can only hope that God knows better than I do. Or my higher power, right? I have an amazing relationship with a man that I never thought I would still be with. And we have this really cool dog. She's so awesome, but if you try to come into my house, she will rip your hand off. She's got a little, weirdness to her too. I used to joke around about this, but this is the truth. And I'll end with this. There's a lot of my family. My mom passed away before I got sober. My sister Lori died of a heart attack. My brother committed suicide. My dad died, right? I've had a lot of loss in my life. I don't talk to any of my blood family anymore. They don't want to have anything to do with me. I talk to my nieces and nephews. We're still really good friends. You guys are my family. We don't have to be blood for us to be like this. And I'm so grateful to have all of you guys in my life. And thank you for letting me share tonight.